Welcome to Wesley Impact. In my thinking later in the show, I'm going to be talking about Jesus' teaching on a well-fitted yoke. We'll take a look at Wesley Mission's work through our youth services north of Sydney. And in the midst of all the TV hype on the next big thing in the entertainment industry, we'll take a peek at what's behind this insatiable desire for fame. At the age of just 11, Naomi Striemer knew exactly what she wanted to be, a star. And just like her idols, Celine Dion and Mariah Carey before her, Naomi was on track to fulfil her childhood dream of becoming a professional singer, signing her first recording studio contract at the age of just 18 with Sony. What followed was a roller coaster ride of extremes, which are all detailed in her autobiography, Backstage Pass. Naomi, it's good to have you on the show and to talk.
Thank you.
Look, you discovered early on that being a singer was big business.
Oh, yes. And I had no idea when I first decided I wanted to be a singer that they even existed. But as soon as I turned on the radio when I was 11 years old, and I knew that you could do this international thing and be on television and have these huge stadiums full of people, I was like, yes, that's what I want to do. I want to sing for all these people, and I want to travel the world, and I want to be on TV, and I want to be on the radio, and oh yeah.
But you were living at that time in a pretty remote place,
Yes.
if I put it nicely. In that place in Nova Scotia, up to that stage, you'd never really been tuned in at a very, very young age to television or radio.
No, because when I was growing up, we didn't have TV, we didn't have radio. So for me, discovering this whole universe was brand new. But I was on the farm, you know, we had a garden, I milked goats, we collected eggs. So the dream was a little far away at that point in my life. So it's just miraculous.
So when you began to realise something of that dream, that would be wonderful. But you see, the dream started to fall apart a little, didn't it? How did you feel? Because faith has been so much a part of your background and upbringing.
Well, I had gone from $1 million contract, everything I wanted, to just having it vanish in a second. And for me, it was God had failed me because he had taken me up to this point. I truly believed, you know, God, you've blessed me with this. Why would you take it from me and not see it through? So I thought God deserted me. He left me. He just couldn't be bothered with me. And why me? Because I've done all the right things. You know, I went to church. I read the Bible. I've been a good person. So it was very frustrating because I thought God owed me that.
So it was, if you like, a faith challenge, really, the very experience you were going through.
Absolutely. It really tested my core because a lot of people in the same situation would have turned the other way, rejecting God, just kind of making a mess of their lives, which we see happen often. But for me, it was, I had such strong, deep roots in my faith that I wanted to battle it out with God. I demanded an answer.
And to give people a perception of where you are, you were rubbing shoulders then with Carlos Santana and Randy Jackson. What was that world like?
Oh, well, it's exciting, and, you know, there's money, and there's power, and there's everything you can imagine is right there. And when you're with all of these people, you're so close to it. And everyone was promising that I was going to be the next one. I was going to be the one lined up for it. And so that's why every time that I got so close and then it was ripped from me, I really just was so confused.
Now, you said as it were, the higher up that pathway or that pole that you climbed, the emptier you felt.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, I really do not believe that humans are created for exaltation. I believe we are created beings to exalt, you know, to exalt God. And so the higher you go, chasing your own power, your own accolades and all this sort of thing, it starts to take out of you the essence. God is leaving you as people praise you more. And you become very desperate to stay on top. You become very desperate to be the one that everybody's clamoring after. And it starts to just destroy you piece by piece. So you become very insecure, very self-doubting. And so that's when the demons start to come out, you know?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more in just a moment, but we recorded a song with you just a few moments ago, and it depicts something, I think, of your journey. And it's called What I Know, What I Know Now.
Some of them I've taken. I've been lost so many times, forgotten or forsaken. Tried to go the way I thought that things would be the way I want, but heaven knows I was never satisfied. 'Cause you knew then everything that I know now. Oh, you knew me well. I couldn't find my faith, I couldn't keep from falling down. You were the light I didn't know I had, just waiting to be found. You had my heart, 'cause you knew then everything that I know now. And every stone I stumbled on that led to my unwinding, you followed like a shadow and you blessed the path behind me. You gave me strength when I had none, to lift my head and shake the dust. Oh, heaven knows how I owe you my life. 'Cause you knew then everything that I know now. Oh, you knew me well. I couldn't find my faith, I couldn't keep from falling down. You were the light I didn't know I had, just waiting to be found. You had my heart, 'cause you knew then everything that I know now. And I am thankful for every stay. Oh, I am thankful for all you gave and took away. I see the beauty of every mess I made and bless it all. Lord, you bless the way. 'Cause you knew then everything that I know now. Oh, you knew me well. I couldn't find my faith, I couldn't keep from falling down. You were the light I didn't know I had, just waiting to be found. You had my heart, 'cause you knew then everything that I know now.
Be inspired by Keith Garner's new book, The Authentic Australian Evangelist, Alan Walker. Former Superintendent Alan Walker was once labelled the conscience of the nation, speaking out for the marginalised and the broken across social, political and international debate. Alan's life and work at Wesley Mission is also featured in an address by Keith Garner on DVD. For more information, call 1800 021 821 or visit our website wesleymission.org.au.
And details about Naomi, her music and a book entitled Backstage Pass will be on our website all this week. Naomi, what I know now is a good story, but in fact, it's things you didn't know that really struck home. And you tell us a story, it's a driver, a chauffeur, that really says something to you that just blows your mind. It changes your world.
He did. He approached me in a studio and came up to me with just no opening line, but I had a dream about you. And I thought, wow, what?
Be careful of people
Hold
like that.
on. And no, that dream was an angel had come to him in the night, given him a message that he was supposed to deliver to me. I'm so thankful he delivered that message to me and didn't shoo it away. And he told me the story of my life. And then he told me the prayers, my anguish, my cries to God.
The chauffeur hadn't met you much before?
No. I had met him the night before when he picked me up from the airport. I did not know this man. So for me, I was standing there frozen, almost terrified what was going on, and I just was silent as he was repeating to me words that I had prayed to God. Why is this happening? Why are you doing this to me? Where are you right now? Is this going to keep happening? You know, these big, huge moments and these big, huge failures.
So Naomi, does that make you re-examine your life? What does it do?
Well, yeah, he said, you need to follow Jesus, and that is it. Stop chasing after stardom. Stop chasing after all this stuff that is meaningless. And so after that, that was it. You know, that's what I had to do.
Now, it's always a battle. People in public life, and we interview quite a few people on the show from time to time, this battle between fame and, if you like, public profile and living the life of faith. What would you say to somebody who said, well, you could have them both?
Right. Well, I think God designed us to praise him. And for me, it was, unless I am literally praising him with what I'm doing, with the gifts he has given me, and I'm asking him what his plan for my life is, I can manipulate it however I want, but I'm doing it for me, you know, and that's really what, if I'm singing some love song on stage and I'm leading everybody with this love song, that's about me. That has nothing to do with God. And I think life is just simply too short to do anything but witness. We've got just such a short period of time.
So did something go on inside you then that made you say, no, my career is going to change from this moment?
Yeah, well, that was part of what that man told me, that chauffeur. He said, if you continue down this road chasing your dreams, you'll keep getting heartbroken and you'll keep ending up with the whys. Or if you choose to give it all up, follow God, all your dreams will come true. And I got to a point in my life where I thought, I can have the whole world, but I will be heartbroken. I've seen it in friends. I've seen it in people around me. You can have everything, but you've got nothing. And that was it.
Now, putting this nicely, some people who don't share faith would call this a bit crazy, a bit on the daft end of life, you know. What would you say to them?
And they did call me crazy. But, you know, my faith is so strong. My concerns really are not about this world. My concerns are living eternally with Jesus. And so when you put those two up against each other, the world can't give you much. And Jesus gives you everything, and that's what I wanted.
Look, something I do want to add in here is really, look, your parents have been a big part of your life, haven't they? Do you think some of the things that they laid down in your life have really borne fruit now?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You know, my parents always supported me. They never told me no, like, don't do that or we'll desert you. Never did that. But through their support, my dad always being like, is this morally sound, Naomi? They kept me on track, and now every time I do a concert, they say we couldn't be prouder. And to me, that means the world, because I can see the whole full circle. It's come full circle.
And concerts is part of the reason you're in Australia, because you've been in New Zealand doing a tour there, and you're going to do that here in Australia. And really, the chief aim of those concerts is to communicate Jesus to others, isn't it?
That's it. The world has nothing, but Jesus has everything.
And that's really, I would have said to you in one sentence, tell us what it means, and that says everything, really, to those watching. We're going to be back in just a moment, but thank you very much for sharing with us in this way.
It's been 200 years since the first Methodists met in Australia. To celebrate 2 centuries of faith and pioneering care, CEO and presenter Reverend Dr. Keith Garner takes us back to where it all began.
But we don't begin here at the heart of London. We begin in a town in the north of England.
In this fascinating narrative, Reverend Garner chronicles the history of the life and times of the founder of Methodism, John Wesley. This fresh and thought-provoking documentary takes us on a journey throughout the United Kingdom, beginning in John Wesley's hometown of Epworth.
John Wesley was born here on the 17th of June, 1703.
This 1-hour DVD travels onto his education years and beginnings of social justice in Oxford, to his final years in London. For more information on John Wesley, the man and his mission, call 02 9263 5555 or email us at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Today we highlight Wesley Mission's heart to come alongside young people when all of life's hopes and dreams seem so far away. Our youth services in Newcastle support young people from 12 to 25 and have been informing, educating and empowering them since 1965. This is Elisha's story.
My name's Elisha, and when I was 8, I slept in a bus shelter. That was when I was first in the streets. Decided to leave after pretty much been violated in my own bedroom by mysterious people who I wouldn't really know. That was really hard on me, so I ended up jumping from my mate's houses, couch surfing and going back home every now and then to get more clothes, getting away from my mum. And it was off and on until I was about 16, and when I was 16 I was living with my dad and my stepmum at the time. I ended up leaving there because after I left there I was in the Nexus ward for really high depression and nearly committing suicide. This place used to be my winter home when I was in the streets. I used to put a candle up here for a bit of light here, and in the corner down there, I used to put another candle there with a pillow on the corner there with a blanket on the bottom and a sleeping bag. When I used to live here, I used to think, am I going to wake up? Am I going to get woken up in the middle of the night by a stranger? Or am I going to die because of not enough warmth for my blankets or clothes?
I met Alicia when she was about 16. Like, she would come here with friends, but she didn't engage straight away. Like, she would come in, you say hi, and how you going, do you need any help? She'd go, no, I don't need any help. You know, so it took, and I think it was a trust thing. And so when we finally built up some rapport, she started to tell her story. Basically, her mum is an alcoholic. Alicia didn't have the boundaries or I guess the love and care that you'd normally would want in a family, and she was kicked out of home and shoved around to do like Western Australia to other relatives, you know, so she was basically unwanted by her mother, and I guess that's why she ended up on the streets.
I was struggling to get accommodation because I was living in refuges when I was pregnant. I was ringing up different refuges and all that sort of stuff. I always got thrown back because it was either too many people were in there and there's not enough room, or I wasn't the correct category because I was too old to go to a youth refuge, or I was too young to go to an adult refuge. One of the things I've learnt with Wesley Mission that you can succeed, it doesn't matter who you are, and you've always got someone to talk to here that's always supportive. I feel happier. I feel like I can achieve more. So that's why I'm going to try going back to TAFE. When I think of Wesley Mission, I think of hope, happiness, support. Wesley means to me my life. If I didn't have them, I wouldn't be here.
I'm continuing today my series in this mid-part of Matthew's Gospel. Let me read to you three of the most familiar verses in the Gospel, and certainly as we come to that last verse. We read quite clearly in Matthew 11:28 through to 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Now, chapters 11 and 12 of Matthew establish the authority of Jesus. He invites the people who are burdened by excessive demands of those who were interpreting the law of the day to come to him. Jesus introduces and illustrates this theme with the image of a yoke. And the rabbis spoke of the yoke of the law, which for many people was a burden they could not carry. But Jesus offered another kind of yoke. Not one that is easy in the usual sense of that word, but a yoke that comes easy because it doesn't chafe, because we have love and grace to help us carry the burden. Even though it is as strong as it is for anybody else, it doesn't rub against us. When Jesus said, my yoke is easy, he was suggesting that it was better, it was good, it was gracious, and it was kind. Now, it shouldn't surprise us that Jesus uses imagery of this kind, because when we examine the New Testament and the tradition that is handed down to us, we know that Jesus' father, Joseph, was a carpenter. And so Jesus would have seen many yokes made for beasts. Now, I can't imagine what it was like, but I suspect that from time to time people would come in and ask for a yoke to be made, and it was something that was everyday, it was something that was normal. But Jesus takes this image and this picture, like he does so often in his parables and in his teaching, and uses it to communicate a profound and deep spiritual truth. He would know that a beast beset with an ill-fitting yoke couldn't effectively do its job. You can just imagine, can't you? A yoke that had been made for one beast fitted to another, but the wrong size, the wrong make, would make a real pressure. It would chafe, it would burn too much. And how it would be that if this law, which was being interpreted and given to the people in such a way that it was hurting because it was so demanding and offered no way of grace, no hope, no sense of liberation, you can see in just the same way that yoke is not going to be something that is good. Jesus offers a different kind of yoke. And that's what I think Jesus is really saying here. And it's particularly important that people who are both the people interpreting the law for the people communicating the law to the people hear this, and most of all, those who hear it, because they can become so accepting that this is the only way you understand the law, as something that is tough and hard and doesn't give you freedom. We heard, as we heard a little earlier, in the story of one whose life was liberated once she realized, in a sense, that Jesus should be at the very center. And in Alicia's story, we saw there too the remarkable change that comes when acceptance and hope is passed on to us. Jesus does not free us from all service, but offers us a yoke that fits us so well that the task seems easy. So the demands that Jesus makes upon our lives are demands that are realistic to what can be achieved through God's grace. And it seems to me that that is so important, to recognize that the task might seem easy. What Jesus gives to us is something that is meaningful because it's there in all our lives. And we need to recognize that what Jesus offers to us is not something to hem us in. That even if we give up our career in the public sense, even if we give up fame, we gain something far, far more meaningful and helpful in our lives. Even if he liberates us from all that other people might see as success, it gives us something very, very powerful. Now, I always try to offer something to people who might be thinking or considering in their own lives what it means to take up the way of Jesus' discipleship. You can be certain of this, that if Jesus offers you a way, if he offers you the yoke that's described here, it will be a perfect equipment for your life. It will enable you to do whatever is necessary in your life to fulfill the calling that God has for you. So take his yoke upon you, because that's the yoke made for you.
If you would like to know more about today's topic, or for more on Keith's message, contact Keith by writing to Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A5555, Sydney South 1235, or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
So thanks for joining us. I'm going to leave you with Steve McPherson singing Cornerstone. Until next week, goodbye and God bless you.
My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, he is Lord, Lord of all. When darkness seems to hide his face, I rest on his unchanging grace. In every high and restore